Going on, everybody? What's happening? It's the Crypto Wonder back at you with another video. I might talk about crypto, I might talk about other issues, but um, it's look it it's looking like I'm going to talk about something else, and I might sprinkle a little crypto information on top of that. Shout out to the new subscribers. Shout out to the my previous viewers. Let's get right into it real quick. So in New York City, as recent as this week, perhaps today, there's going to be checkpoints in New York City now. Checkpoints, okay? Amidst the whole pandemic 19 crisis, there's going to be checkpoints. All right. When you think things are just probably settling, or things might just kind of like are waning down, like the curve, like everyone talks about the curve or the wave, you think that it's just gonna, kind of like, okay, it's being handled, getting a handle on things. Then something else comes in like this. They throw this monkey wrench into the plan to just mess everything up and to create more confusion. So the powers that be in New York City, the good old mayor of New York City and the governor of New York, because I know the governor supports this, checkpoints will be set up at New York City's tunnels and bridges to trace travelers from 35 COVID hotspot states and enforce 14-day quarantine. And anyone who flouts it risks a $10,000 fine, okay? Not $100, not $10, not $1,000, but a $10,000 fine. So now the city is like living under. So I mean, the city. It seems like it's just a nice cell, a nice confined. Where we're jailed in a way. Why didn't they just lock everything down back in March and April, right? Just if you're going to enact martial law or something, uh, uh, similar to that, they should have just did it already. Get it over with. Get it over with. Bridges and tunnels. Now there's going to be checkpoints. I mean, what is the climate like? What type of life is this turning out to be? What type of life is this turning out to be? And the governor, you know, for those who don't know, the governor of New York, and I've heard him say this, in his speeches, like as recent as 2 weeks ago, he's begging for wealthy people who have fled New York to come back. He's begging people, the affluent millionaires and billionaires who fled, who left New York amidst this whole, lockdown crises, who, they just left. They left the five boroughs, they left the state. He's begging them to come back. I wonder why. We don't know what the school systems are going to look like here. We don't know what the government, as far as Congress, is going to really decide, of what this next bill is going to look like, as far as helping people even just have money to pay their day to day. It's, just they can't work. So how are they paying their bills? How are they keeping a roof over their head? How can they eat? How can they take care of their loved ones? How can they take care of the children? We're in August, but guess what? On Friday, they're getting ready to go on vacation. I've been saying this for a long time, since the start of me making videos about this, this pandemic. We're not going to hear anything possibly till after Labor Day, as far as even having any type of stimulus hit the money, hit, the pockets or the hands of the people. So after later, because these people are just on vacation left and right. It was Memorial Day, they took a 2 week vacation. Then, like, July 4th, they took a vacation that, from, I guess, before the 4th until July 20th. And now here we are, August just started, and they're about to take another vacation again. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. This is the stuff we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. So now, because New York appears to have gotten a better control over this crisis, so now the city now has to be under like these restrictions. Because if someone, let's say someone works for the city government or the state government or something to the sort, and they fly, let's say they go to one of these hot spots, should they return back to New York, and the government catches wind of that, and let's say these people, become sick or whatever, they're not going to get paid, the whatever sick leave program, because they broke the rules. I'm going to say they broke the rules. They broke the rules and flew against the will of the government. So they're going to get punished financially, just like they would get punished. And not only would they not get paid, they would possibly get a $10,000 fine, as it's written here. Where's the money coming from? Who's going to pay $10,000? I mean, after the riots plagued the streets of New York, what billionaire or millionaire is going to want to come back to the city? What are you begging the city, the millionaires and the wealthy people to come back to New York for what? To be, again, quarantined? Life is not the same anymore. You walk into stores and you see tape on the ground. You walk into the stores and you see signs. You see all kinds of weird stuff. You see people who have like plastic barriers. Clear plastic barriers, as if that's going to stop something. That's just psychological. That's just for some type of mental relief. That does nothing. You walk into a barbershop, you see plastic barriers. A cab, plastic barriers between you and the driver. What is that supposed to do? A bus, plastic barriers. Like these flimsy plastic sheets that they just tape or staple or hang suspended in air or whatever. And that's supposed to do what? Minimize spread? Life is so different. Life is so different. Did you all hear about how the Federal Reserve is actually letting people know that there will be an inflation. Inflation is it's almost like it's a must. It's going to happen. That's inevitable. Because they don't want deflation. They have to keep printing the money. They have to do that. Inflation, meaning the monies that you have that we use now, the dollar that we have today will not be worth the same tomorrow. May not be as quick as tomorrow, but in the future, it just won't be the same, because the inflation rate, which they're talking about possibly it'll be like maybe 4%. But in real terms, that's much higher, because whatever we have to pay, I mean, think about it now. When we go shopping, aren't the prices more? Aren't the prices higher? How much does it cost for you to go, again, get groceries or for anything? Aren't the prices marked up considerably high? Ridiculous amounts, ridiculous levels? Then they're talking about, there's mental health issues now. People are depressed. So I heard the president say that, people depressed, is suicide. Hell yeah. That's not a surprise. That shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. You keep people locked up in their homes without saying that they're locked up, but that's what it really is. They can't make a way for themselves. They can't go to work. They can't really live a simple life. They can't really just be at ease and with themselves and naturally exist and experience life without constraints, and they're confined in their home. What do you think? They're gonna get better? You think what do you think is gonna happen? They will decompensate. Depression, anxiety, worry, fear, all of those things have debilitating factors. That affects our mind, that affects our body, that affects our overall wellness. Of course, people are going to, come on, come on. All this talk about defunding the police. Look, I agree. I definitely agree with, the crazy nonsense that cops do. They need to be reprimanded for it. They need to be held completely accountable for it. Because some of these killings are uncalled for, point blank, period. That's a fact. That's a fact. We know this. But my goodness, what about the other elements of crime that exist? You think crime's gonna stop? Like, this is what I don't understand. Like, right, if you defund, you shut down the police, you abolish police, completely abolish it. Who's gonna take care? Who's gonna take care of the community in place of the police? Peace officers? Who? Social workers? Who? Nurses? Who? Teachers? Who? Counselors? Who? Janitors? Who? Waitresses and waiters? Who? Good Samaritans? Who? Who's gonna take care of who? 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 You think communities are gonna be safe? Or I mean, what? And this is the state. This is. I'm speaking from a perspective of New York City. I'm speaking from a perspective because this is where I'm here, right? And I'm in the United States. I'm in New York City. But you know what? This stuff is going on all over the country in its own way. People are affected by this worldwide, man. I just found out. I just found this out. Did y'all know? Did y'all know? And man, in Panama City to be specific, do you know that they are locked down? Of course you know they're locked down. What place isn't locked down? Unless you must, you live in, Aboriginal, you're just like in a far remote, area of the world where you probably have more peace than everybody else. God bless y'all. But they're locked down, and they have to be segregated, where they could only go out, like men in Panama right now as we speak are only allowed to go out on certain days for a certain period of time during the day. If they don't, they will get locked up. If they don't and they go outside and they're supposed to be a man, and if it's a time that they're not supposed to be outside, they will get locked up in Panama City. Women too. And that's their way of enforcing social distancing. The women are allowed to go out on certain days for a certain amount of time, and men are only allowed to go out on certain days for like an hour and a half. That's it. And then there's some issues where there's people who are transgender. They try to play both sides, right? What? They try to play both sides. Guess what? They got locked up in Panama City. This is the state of affairs. This is what we're dealing with. This is what's going on here. This is the craziness that's going on right now, man. And people don't know what to, and the people in Panama, they want to come to New York. They not only New York, I'm talking about the states, not just New York. They want to come to the states. Meanwhile, we all messed up. We don't know what the hell we doing, but it's not that bad though. I'm not gonna lie, man. It's not to that level. Men can only go out at a certain time. Women can only go out at a certain time. I guess the government political system is different. It's just complete. It's completely different. But it's crazy out here. People are bored. People don't know what to do. They're climbing up the walls. outside, folks are just weird. It's just weird. You can now be in groups, but make sure you wear a mask. If you have to be in a group, wear a mask. They have memes now for kids, getting ready to go to school, wearing spacesuits, looking like astronauts going to school. That's the memes or the gifs or gifs or whatever they have that the kids are circulating, making jokes. You find them all over social media with a little lunchbox, but they look like they, getting ready to go in the rocket to go to the moon. This is where we're at. And let me tell you, because this is looking so crazy, I hope they're not doing all this just because it's an election year. I hope that after the election year, this like keep that same energy. If this changes, boy, if everything stops after the election year, after the election, and everything kind of like goes back to normal, quote unquote, because I don't even know what normal is anymore. That's gonna be very telling in itself. That's gonna be very, very, very telling in itself. And I don't know how true this is either, but they say that the federal government will also extend unemployment, or their piece of providing unemployment assistance and benefits for the rest of this year. And no one knows which way is up. People don't have a clue what's going on, like how long this is going to last. Everyone, they want to lean on a vaccine, but they don't know how to even enforce people to take a vaccine. So they're going to try different ways to persuade people to take a vaccine. I don't want to take a vaccine. The hell I got to take a vaccine for your mess up? For what? And then you got to deal with opposing sides, people who can't see eye to eye. But this is where we are. This is what's going on. What say y'all? How do y'all feel about what's going on, man? How do y'all feel about the craziness going on? How do you feel? Because after this month, the fall is about to hit. And I always hear, like, after Labor Day, flu season. Every year, apart from the 19 virus or whatever, it was September hits, flu season. Go get your flu shot. Blah blah blah. What's gonna happen in another 30 days from now? Another 5-6 weeks from now? What's gonna happen? Getting ready again. Like, this thing is gonna be extended. The economists have no clue. There are economists. There are strategists and economists, political analysts who just live and breathe this type of stuff, who can't even make sense out of what's going on. They're telling you the recovery, just to get back to where we were at the beginning of this year, might take years to recover, with a dollar that's plummeting, that's being devalued, where Russia and China are making their own agreements to trade in their own currency, not using the dollar. The reverberations of that are going to be widespread. Where you have this proverbial printing machine that's printing endless dollars due to fractional reserve quantitative easing from the Federal Reserve Bank, flooding the market with dollars. Who do you think is gonna, like? We need immediate help, but we're gonna pay for it tomorrow. Right now, we need help, but we're gonna pay for it tomorrow, and none of this was really our fault. Why? Because the powers that be want to put their thumb on our necks. Want to put that, not even their thumb, their foot on our necks. People are glued to any type of news, anything remotely close to about some stimulus check. People are walking out here. It's like their spirit is taken away from them. The spirit of hope is taken away from them. I can't move like that, though. I have to fight through this. Just like my viewers here, if you hear my voice, we have to fight through this. We have to fight through this, man. They can't break us down. They can't tear us down. They can't, no matter how hard they try. They can't. This only is going to make us stronger. That's all it's doing. It's making us, it's allowing us to just do certain things, take advantage of certain, situations, to make the best out of out of a messed up situation, to allow us to just build character, resilience. Because they don't know what the hell they're doing. The Great Reset is real. The Great Reset is real. This is something that was talked about in the World Economic Forum by certain leaders in industry. They got together and they had a conference, and they showing you, and they put it out there for the world to see. You could find it on YouTube. The Great Reset. That was headed by a gentleman named Klaus. His last name Klauss. The Great Reset is real. Because everything that was taking place was not good enough. It's almost like it's run its course as far as the financial legacy system. You know, the inequalities, the social and political and inequalities and all this stuff. It's time to start again. But in that process, many people are going to get caught up in that whirlwind and be in a position worse than they are today. You don't want to be in that position. Meaning the gap is going to widen between the haves, those who have, and those who have not. The transference of wealth, the transference of not only wealth for you, but wealth for generations to come is taking place right now with this global reset. When you're looking at joblessness, when you're looking at, people who can't pay their rent, people who can't pay their mortgage, and you're watching a stock market soaring, you don't see a problem? You don't see a problem? Gold just reached its highest point today. Ever. Like 2050 or something like that. Its highest price point. Silver is climbing with respect to, precious metals and those types of hard assets for those who are into those things, the gold and silver bugs or whatever. Businesses are closing. People are getting evicted. Folks are getting sick. Not only because of 19, they're just getting sick as a result of 19. That have nothing to do related to 19, but indirectly impacted by 19. So now they've developed other ailments that have been exacerbated by the lockdown and everything that came with that. The mental stress, the physical stress, the medical stress. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. And this is a channel I talk about cryptocurrency a lot. But cryptocurrency is just like, it's actually right now, this year has proven, well, this year this is the chance right now for cryptocurrency to show its true value and the true meaning of why it was designed and what it's here and ready and prepared to bring to the world. There's no better, period. There's no better period when you're told that this time, this deep recession, some people even call it a Great Depression because the numbers reflect that these numbers of high unemployment are higher than the Great Depression, are worse than the housing crisis that took place in 2008, 2009. These times right now are much worse than then. And Bitcoin was born out of the housing crisis. So I think cryptocurrency is just the last hope, the last line of defense to help people reclaim or regain some type of control and power. To navigate through this wilderness, this maze that we call life. Be well.